Real Estate Investing Profits presents Profit Masters with your host, world-renowned real estate coach and investor, Cory Boatwright. Now, strap in and get ready to learn elite wealth-building investment strategies taught by 6- and 7-figure house flipping masters as they reveal their best real estate investing profit secrets to you right now.
We are back. What is going on? My name is Cory Boatwright. I am the founder of Real Estate Investing Profits and your host for our Profit Masters podcast series. And today, our guest is Mr. Mike Zlotnik. Now, some of us call him the Big Russian. That's my best impersonation I possibly can for Mr. Zlotnik. All right. He is someone that I really have a ton of respect for. He's someone that is a hard money lender. He runs a business called TempoFunding. So if you're interested and you need some funds, this is the guy to talk to. I personally have worked with Mike on projects, okay, that have exceeded over $1 million. And that's in total funding of deals that we have worked on together. This guy is a real deal. I am so pumped to bring him to you that you can learn a little bit about his model and how it can help you. Now, before we get started, have you downloaded your Ultimate Quick Start Guide? If you haven't, what you need to do is text the word profit. Okay? And that number is 38470. 38470. Text that, and immediately I'm going to send you back a link that you can download your Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide. All right? Makes it quick and easy for you. A gift that I know that you'll dig. All right. So, what you need to do is turn off any distractions because you're going to want to tune in and listen because his accent is very big. He's a Russian guy. You know, he's a big Russian guy with a big accent. I can get away with giving him a little bit of heck because I know him very well. All right. Without any further ado, I give you Mr. Mike Zlotnik. All right, Mike, how you doing?
Good, Cory. How's it going?
I'm doing well. You are in you in New York?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn. Do you have one of those Brooklyn accents? Because I know you're Russian, so having that Russian accent and then the Brooklyn accent, that can sound pretty mean.
I'm not sure of a Brooklyn accent. I can definitely fake the Russian accent.
What part of Russia are you from?
Originally from a small republic of the former Soviet Union called Moldova.
Moldova. And
I left when it was still the former Soviet Union. It was a long time ago.
Right. Yeah, that has been a long time. And you've been over in the States for how long?
Since 1989.
89, yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I appreciate you making time to be on the show. I know you're busy. You and I have done a lot of business together, so I know for a fact how busy you are on doing hard money lending. And I appreciate you coming on here for our Profit Masters series for real estate investing profits. We have had some incredible guests on, and I wanted to bring you on because not only are you a profit master, and again, you and I met each other in a mastermind, which it's been kind of a common theme lately. Those masterminds have been, so a lot of value whenever you go there. I'd like to introduce you to the folks listening right now on talking about what is your particular area in real estate that you consider is your expertise, Mike?
First of all, Cory, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's a privilege and honor to be working with you, and I'm grateful for you inviting me to take part of this.
Likewise, my friend.
Thank you. So my expertise is private lending. Some folks call it private money. Some folks call it hard money. It is debt finance of real estate transactions. That's what I do. If you're going to ask me, what is that all about? It's about marrying money and opportunity. So there are folks out there that find a good project, a good house that needs some tender loving care, needs a little bit of rehab, and they can improve the community, improve the neighborhood by improving the house, and then sell it at a fair market value. And they make a fair living by improving that house. So what we do, we come in with the private loan where the banks don't participate at all. Banks don't fund these type of projects. We come in, we help the project sponsor, the person who is running the project, borrow the money from us, and they use the funds to buy the house, to fix the house, and that's essentially what we do.
Sure.
That's what hard money is. Why is it called hard money? It's a little bit more expensive than a bank money, obviously. That's why people call it hard. But the banks have no clue how to do this. And the fact that the banks don't participate gives us an opportunity to come in. And we are far from the traditional hard money lending. We're really a friendly lender, just a private kind of entity, not an institutional lender.
So, Mike, I know that you do hard money lending, and I know some people understand what that is, and thanks for explaining a little bit there. But the other big differentiation is it's short term, right? The way that you're getting this money is so you can go into some other form of financing. So they'll take you out essentially. They're using your money just to kind of get by. Is that accurate?
Absolutely accurate, and thank you for pointing it out. So our funds are used essentially as a bridge loan. We provide a short duration funding for a fix and flip project. And there are two main exit strategies out of every project. One is to resell the house. Mm-hmm. Two, if you like the house and you want to keep it, rent it out to somebody, that is absolutely fine. But there's got to be a long-term takeout finance. So our money is a little bit too expensive for long-term. That's why it's used as a short-term as bridge loan, simply to buy, fix up the house, and then either resell or refinance.
Got it. Right. How did you get involved with real estate investing? Curious, Mike, in the beginning.
Well, my first investment was my first primary residence. I bought my first apartment in 2000. And
was that in New York as well?
It was in Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, okay.
And that's how I got started. But I've loved real estate ever since I bought the first apartment, and I try to buy more apartments slowly over time. And then when the opportunity came, I kind of jumped into this business full time, getting away from my previous career, simply because real estate is a lot more fun and a lot more opportunity, and it's a freedom. If anything you want to describe it in one word, the word is freedom.
I agree. Lots of freedom inside real estate investing. Most of the most successful people that I know have been involved with real estate investing in some fashion or form. Did you have a breaking point? This is something I like to ask all the guests. Was there a point in your life that the reason you got involved with real estate investing is because you wanted something else in life, and there's a point where you just had enough is enough and you couldn't get there without involving real estate investing?
Sure. So I'm going to start with the real simple. It's a true story. It is what happened. I was in corporate world, and I worked for the same CDO as Chief Technology Officer in an IT company for 3 jobs. It's kind of interesting. I followed him. He dragged me along, and I was in IT career. And every time I kept getting promotion and on and on and on. And there came a day where we worked very, very hard, and we were very successful completing a project. So he called me to his office, and I thought it was a call to get a raise, to get a promotion, to get something like that. And I turned out to be completely the opposite. He very politely told me, I'm very, very sorry, but we have been acquired, and we have to terminate a quarter of the employees immediately because it was a money buyer focused on improving profitability rather than long-term investment.
Right. Jeez.
So instead of getting a promotion, I got laid off. I got a little package and was told, very sorry, but you've done nice work here, but have a nice life. So all that taken, it was a kind of a push a kick in the butt per se to get into something that I like to do, rather than keep slugging it out in IT, where it was a lot of hard work, a lot of stress, and not a lot of appreciation for the work. So that was the breaking point, the kick in the butt. That's how I got pushed into doing it.
You got pushed from that point on, from losing that job. You went straight into working with someone in a real estate company, or you started your own?
So what happened was that my good friend of many years, who was also in IT, Joel Hoffman, started TempoFunding, and I was an early investor. And when he found out that I was free and available, he said, "Won't you come and run the shop?"
So that's when TempoFunding was really created.
Yeah, it was started late 2008, and then this happened in May 2009. So in June 2009, I just jumped on board running the ship, and that's what happened. So the opportunity was there, and I thought it was great. It was just it was a big pay cut initially, but loved the freedom to do what I do, and the opportunity to be working from home with a family. So that's you can't replace that. No money can buy that.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I have a similar story. Not to get into that completely right now, but I remember when I was working a corporate job for almost 4 years at a Christian telephony company. It was a affinity-based company where they would give 10% of your long-distance phone bill to a nonprofit organization. And I was there for quite a while, moved up the ranks, and the company did a reordering and reorganizing, and I got called in, and I'll never forget it. That day, I thought I was coming in because the month before, I had a great month before. We had top sales, and I was moving up the ladder there, and they proceeded to tell me that they are also letting go part of the team, and I've been there the least amount of time. Some people have been there for 7-8 years, and although I had great results, they had to let me go. And so they gave me a keychain, a money clip, and a pen, and 1 month of severance package, 1 month severance package. And I will never forget at that moment that I realized that I was just a number. That I wasn't just a number. I had created a lot of value for that company, but when it came down to it, I was just a number. And if I was going to control my destiny for working for myself and involving starting my own business, then I had to be the person that did. I had to be an entrepreneur. I had to get involved with something where I could steer the ship more. Mike, what was your biggest influence for investing? Who or what was that?
I'm a big fan of Warren Buffett. So I'm going to use the top guy out there. I don't know anybody bigger than him. And I read his annual letters religiously. I bought a few B class shares to get the newsletter. And really, there are a lot of people who have provided positive influence. But Warren is unique in its ways. I just love his philosophy, how he thinks about investing. He is truly a value investor. And if you think about real estate, it's about buying low, selling high. It's a finding of value, something that other people don't see, or the situation is distressed and you come in at the right time. So if I were to name one person, it'd be Warren Buffett and kind of his philosophy to value investing.
I agree. And you and I have sent emails back and forth on his newsletter. It's incredible. What was one of the big mistakes that you made, or maybe a worse deal that you went through, and how did you get through it? Can you explain that, Mike?
Sure. I have a couple of really bad deals in my career, and I remember them really well. And one of them was outright fraud. And
we had another guest that was on here that had an issue with fraud.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about fraud case. At the end of the day, the fraudster is in jail. We recovered a portion of the money. We lost some money. We wrote it off and moved on. And it is a serious risk. It was a very expensive lesson, but kind of got a PhD in fraud protection, due diligence, and all that stuff. So that I can tell you about the bad deal. Another one, you actually know, you helped me out to get out of it. We have that one deal where we funded a property that was on city condemned list, and the first contractor stole the initial money to do the rehab and never showed up, and the project sponsor was completely didn't care to get out. So at the end of the day, we had to come in, you had to help me out. We auctioned that house, got it sold. We did take a pretty bad beating. We lost a lot of money, but we got out.
Got out of the deal, right.
Yeah, one of the things you got to learn is how to cut your losses and move on. So don't get stuck with a loser. It is not just financial drain. It is a mental drain, time drain. Get out of that and focus on the positive and better things. So those were pretty, a couple of really bad deals.
Bad deal, yeah. I agree. And I remember when I did day trading, and remember those stops that you put in on
stop losses,
yeah. And sometimes we're just not good at keeping to those, because there's, it might go back up and I'll move it back a little further. And then what happens is you start losing more money than you were going to at your stop. So I know how that is. You have to make sure that you're consistent on those stops. Mike, what's one of your profit master investing strategies? Whenever we have guests on here, one of the reasons that we bring them on is so they can really share one of the really good things that are happening in their business right now that is just crushing it for them. We call it our profit master investing strategy. Can you share what one of those are in your business right now?
Sure. So I will talk a little bit about most of what we do with finance. Make loans, basically do debt finance. We provide first lien loans for these rehab projects. But the more lucrative opportunity has been a little bit more aggressive investing or lending. Call them second lien loans, or sometimes it's an equity participation. So instead of making more conservative loan, we've done some more, call them aggressive because the level of risk is a little bit higher. Second liens, and also we've done equity participation deals where we provide equity, and the approach is fairly simple. So by providing second lien or equity capital, we enable the borrower to come to another lender, and also we bring that lender and get cheaper money at the lowest possible cost. So our capital is the last drop in the bucket, but the most critical drop in the bucket, and it lowers overall cost of capital for the project sponsor. To us, it gives us a better return, but we do this only with top folks that we've been working with, because it is a high level of risk, and we need to be very comfortable that they know what they're doing.
Right, because you're obviously in a second position.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So that strategy can be very, very profitable if properly executed to leverage second lien or equity investors. So this is very applicable in the commercial space. In the commercial space, you're going to see this equity capital raising efforts as a very, very common practice.
I agree.
In residential area where we operate non-owner occupied residential properties, it is a little bit less frequent occurrence. We've kind of taken the concept and started implementing it, as it provides better return for us and enables folks who we work with to be a little bit more leveraged. In other words, if they have a lot of deal flow, they need less capital to be able to do those deals.
I agree. Let's do this, because I think that you are dealing in such the way your mindset is in these numbers every day, that sometimes that the average person that's just sitting here listening to you talk about that, they may have not followed all the way through. Just give an example, if you wouldn't mind, Mike. Let's say you have a $100,000 deal. Let's just take it from there. Walk through what your strategy would be, your profit master strategy with that.
Sure. Let's just thank you for asking for the clarification. So it's really simple. Let's just say the project sponsor, and again, the term is somebody who is doing the work, who is running the project.
Right. Okay.
They're buying the house for $100,000.
Yep.
And let's say the house needs $20,000 rehab.
Okay.
And after repair value would be about $180,000.
Okay.
So it's a fairly decent project. And let's just say they're low on cash. Right. They want to do the deal, and they come to us, and they often say, "Hey, can you help me out? Can you provide 100% financing?"
Okay.
And if we are comfortable with the project sponsor, if we really, really think the person knows what they're doing.
Yeah, you're saying project sponsor being the person that wants to borrow the money from you.
Yeah, the borrower.
Okay.
Let's call him the borrower project sponsor. Okay. The person who is buying the house and looking to rehab it and resell it.
Okay.
So when they come to us, they want 100% of the financing. So they want $120,000 and any closing cost. And sometimes we give them that as a loan. But sometimes we'll say, okay, so how many projects like that do you have? And if they have 10 projects like that, and we look at it and we say, how much money can you bring? Well, between the 10 projects, I can bring $10,000 for each project. So I only have $100,000 between the 10 of them.
Gotcha.
So their participation in the project is fairly small. That's the max they have available, but they have deals.
Right. They have deal flow, but not a lot of cash flow.
Exactly.
Right, or capital. Right.
So what we would do is we would bring another lender who would provide, just say, $90,000 in first lien, the cheapest money, and we would provide $10,000 towards down payment, plus $20,000 towards rehab, plus let's just say another $10,000 to pay that first lien lender to carry the project.
Okay.
So we provide 10 plus 20 plus another 10, about $40,000. Right. We leverage with $90,000 cheaper
money. So leverage
money.
is the $90,000 is the first position.
It's the first position.
The 10,000 plus the 20 is the second position.
It's either second position or equity. In other words, we set up a separate LLC and we come in as a preferred equity investor.
Got it.
So at the end of the day, the total money needed for the project get put into the project, and the borrower project sponsor is totally focused on succeeding, just doing the work. Now, on occasion, we might ask for a little bit of capital to come in. So out of the $40,000 that needed to put as a down payment, plus rehab, plus carry cost, we might say, all right, we'll put 80% of that. Can you put 20? And 20% of 40,000 is $8,000.
$8,000.
It's not a lot of money. It's essentially if you're trying to do.
But now they had some skin in the game.
A little bit of skin in the game. We generally ask for it. So we like to see them bring in about 20% of the equity money needed. Or in this case, it would be $8,000 out of 40.
This is great. Most people don't realize that you can do something like this. That's a great profit master strategy, because most of the time people think it's just one loan, and if I can't get there with that one loan, then I'm out, right? So this is a way that you can actually bring two loans, and you have the relationship with the 90,000 that's coming there, and you're coming in with that second position.
That's right. So the way it works is we may be able to bring the 90,000 as well at a lower cost. Maybe one of our loans too.
Right.
The general kind of borderline is to create leverage. The deal has to be a little bit bigger. So example that I gave is kind of a small deal.
Right.
May not be an ideal candidate, but if it's 200,000 and up, this concept becomes a lot more relevant.
Makes more
sense.
The
bigger you go, the more relevance it has.
Sure.
So really small loans, we'll probably just fund them directly. Just too much aggravation to bring a small third-party loan. But we do have ton of relationships with other funds and other investors that are absolutely comfortable in the first lien position, most conservative and willing to lend the money cheaply. And we take the second position or equity position, making a better return on our capital. But that enables the project. So this is kind of pretty basic creative finance. At the end of the day, if there is a deal with a good spread, it should not go to waste.
I agree.
We can help the project sponsor, the borrower, with the right financial structure to make it work. Hope it makes sense.
That's great. And I think that the explanation of that, it really helped. What's one piece of advice, Mike, that you would share about running a successful real estate business?
I would say the word patience.
Ooh, I like that.
It is we're
in the now economy right now.
Right, we're in a fast pace all the time. I live in the city. The city is a fast pace, constantly, and people don't have patience, and that gets them in trouble. The moment they don't have patience, you know what I see? Car accidents. Happens all the time.
Sure.
They run too fast. They don't think about consequences. So patience in running a business is something very important to have. Just like I have 4 kids, and bringing up kids, you got to be a very patient parent. Kids make mistakes. You as a parent have to be patient. So in business, it is important to take a time to think about the problem, kind of measure 7 times, come up with a plan, and then execute. Now, it doesn't mean it has to be a perfect plan. It just means that if you don't think about the consequences, the risks, the kind of pros and cons, you don't wind up making the right decision. So a little bit of thinking up front can save you a lot of mistakes later. So patience is necessary. The other side of the word patience is when you come up with a good strategy. Let's just say you think you got a good business going and you're starting to do it. You're running the biz and the results are not coming in. What do? You could freak out. You could suddenly try to change direction, or you could look at it. And if you're still doing the right things, you got to be patient and the results will come. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be stupid. What I'm saying is you could try. There's an expression, try a lot of things, figure out what works, and do a lot of that. Right. So if you're in a phase where you're exploring and you haven't figured out what works, then it's a different beast. You have to be trying many things. And at that time, you have to be impatient with yourself because you're at a phase where you need to find what works. So that's a little different, but depending on the activity, if you find something that works, be patient with it.
I love the comparison, the analogy with the have kids and having patience, and I love that. If you had to start all over again, Mike, what would you change? Maybe some advice for someone new starting.
That's a great question. I would say what I would do is I'd probably get a coach like you as early as I could possibly do. Why? Because I played competitive sports, and you know me, you probably know what sport I played, but you would never guess what a 6'4" guy would consider a sport. So it's chess. I'm talking about chess, right? I did it from childhood, and I always had a coach from day one. And I do martial arts today. I do Taekwondo, and I have a coach today too. And I have to say, having a coach or an instructor, it is critical, paramount to your success, even if you're good at it. Why? Because, like in sports, the coach could see from the coach's position what you don't see. So the earlier you get somebody who is experienced, truly genuine, good coach, you will improve your chances of doing the right things earlier and avoiding mistakes. You're benefiting from the coach's experience rather than trying to live, make mistakes, and learn from your own mistakes. You're learning from the mistakes of the coach.
That's great. And I appreciate you giving me a thumbs up there, recommendation. And you and I have worked together in a coaching space and consulting, and I agree 100%. Whenever you can see a different perspective, and sometimes we're just too close to something and it's harder to see, but whenever you get some altitude, you can look and see where pieces that need to connect together where they should, moving things around. And it can really help out your business, and you can succeed and accomplish the things that you want much faster because you have not only accountability, but you also have a different set of eyeballs on your business. Mike, I appreciate that. What's your favorite motivation or motivational quote, maybe a business quote?
I'm going to go back to Warren Buffett. I'm not quoting him, but I'm going to relate the concept. And this concept is very applicable to real estate and applicable to business. So what he says in one of his newsletters, one of the most favorite phrases, he's repeated it multiple times. So what he says, I would rather pay a fair price for a great business than a great price for a fair business.
I love that.
The value of this is to find, because he's a long-term investor.
Right.
So what he's trying to do is to pick up great assets at a fair price. When you buy real estate, it's the same concept. If you invest for long-term, you're better off paying a fair price for a great location, great asset, than paying a great price for a so-so asset. Because appreciation on a better asset will be much better in the long run than on a fair one.
Sure. And again, it goes back to patience. So that works great. What's maybe one of the books that you recommend, one that's really impacted you in a big way, Mike?
Sure. So as part of the mastermind kind of learning experience, the one that we both go to 4 times a year, I've started learning a little bit about self-directed IRA investing. And as I've learned more and more, I started to read books and more books. And what I've discovered is you could build a great fortune through self-directed IRA investing, and it is a very powerful concept and powerful field. So one of my favorite books is called Retire Rich with Self-Directed IRA. And it's written by Nora Patterson, and you can find it on Amazon. It's one of the classic books. There are a lot of self-directed IRA books, but this is a one specific example. Another one is a really simple book. It's kind of one of those books that everybody knows, and I'm just going to mention it because I kind of still like it, even though I read it years ago. And it's Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Sure.
Everybody knows that book. Kind of wakes you up.
I read that book, Mike, and it said 9 out of 10 businesses fail, and I got really excited because I knew all I had to do was start 10 businesses, and one of them was going to succeed.
That's right. That's a good approach. Lose money on 10, make one on 1.
That's the way
I guess
looked
if
at
it's
it.
the next Facebook, sure. You can
That's
do that.
right. Okay, so what's a favorite mobile app? We'll quickly go through a few more questions here. I really appreciate your time today. What's one of your mobile apps that you use in your business every day, Mike?
Now, this one, I seriously doubt anybody is going to tell you this, because this is not a productivity app. This is not one of those very cool apps. It's a really simple app called Task Killer.
Task Killer?
Task Killer.
Task
What
Killer.
it does, it kills applications that are running on your mobile device that just running and they're consuming memory.
Less is more.
I've seen
okay.
things slowing down. This is back to less is more.
Right.
Sometimes you got to figure out what to do less than what to do more of.
And is that on Android or iPhone?
It's an Android. So the application, what it does is as you keep using your phone, it keeps eating up memory. At some point, starts slowing down.
Sure.
And I almost use it daily because you open up so many apps, they're all running. You got to clean them up. And the thing does it really well. It just kills them all.
Task Killer. Okay. Well, do you have a morning routine that you kind of stick by?
Sure. Being a Russian, I'm just going to crack a joke. I hope it's not. So I get up in the morning, pick up a bottle of vodka, open it up, wash my feet. I don't drink it.
Vodka bath.
Vodka bath, that's it. No, I don't do that, but I thought about it. So what I do in the morning, I have 4 kids, so my routine starts. I get up, I just kind of drink a little bit of water while kids getting ready to go to school or summer camp or whatnot. I do a little bit of email, just check a couple of very quick things on the incoming emails. Other than that, I just take the kids to their activity, school in the morning or summer camp, and then after that, I do a little bit of driving around my kind of morning tasks, and all that activity helps me to think about the day. Because driving kids around is better than sitting in front of a computer and trying to think, what am I supposed to do?
Plus you're with your kids. That's great.
Yeah, so my morning routine is spent with my kids, getting them where they need to get, and that is hugely helpful to think about my day.
Interesting. That's an interesting perspective. What's a great lesson that you've learned that's helped you get to where you are today, Mike?
It's a great question. There are a lot of difficult, so life is just all about lessons. Life is a journey, and I want to say that the most important lesson is a really simple one. It is about helping others. So if you learn that helping yourself should come last, kind of strange. We're all motivated self-starters, drivers to be successful. But at the end of the day, what is more important is to help others. If you take a minute out of your day and to think about who you could help today, how you can impact somebody positively, how you could build better relationships with people, help them with what they need rather than what you need. Any relationship you start, actually, one of the most important thing to think about is how can you help them. If you do this, then you will build better relationships. As you build better relationships, when you need something, they'll come back and they'll help you out. So it's a biblical thing. You shall, thou shalt give and you shall receive. That's it. That's the lesson in life, is to learn that.
That's great. I subscribe to that, and I think that's amazing that the lesson that you chose is to serve others to help you get to where you are. I love that. What are you most grateful for right now, Mike, in your life?
I'm grateful to my family, and grateful for my family, for having them, for their patience with me. I travel and biz a lot, and I leave my wife with kids, and it's they miss me and I miss them.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm grateful for.
At what point would you recommend hiring a coach or a mentor, and how important do you think that that's been to your success?
I think I mentioned this, the sooner the better. The moment you want to do something, no matter what you're going to do, the first question you should ask yourself, who's going to be my coach? So no matter what you're going to do, what activity, what sport, what business, who is going to be my coach? Can I find the right coach? And if I can find the right coach, that'll improve my chances of success tenfold. For years, I was a lone wolf. I just thought I knew things. In the corporate world, I didn't have a coach. Didn't have a strong protege either. I had good relationships with more senior folks and stayed in touch with them, and we continue to do that. But I never had a coach. Just kind of had co-workers, seniors, junior folks. Some people I work for, some people work for me. It's very different. You need a coach, not somebody who reports to you or you report to them. Because the function of a coach is drastically different.
I agree.
So start yesterday.
Start yesterday. Yeah. And a lot of time, you're a smart guy. You've done multi-millions of dollars in real estate transactions. And sometimes, and I do business consulting and coaching. You and I have done consulting and still do on today. And one of the things that's interesting is that sometimes I think that if we're smart, that sometimes we think if we get a coach, but for some reason that we look at it like a zero-sum game, right? We look at success like a zero-sum game. And the reality is that it's not. Just because you ask for help or you get a coach doesn't mean that you're any less successful. It means that you're smarter, I believe, because you realize the perspective that is outside of just your own could be valuable to you. And, again, I go back to that, having the fresh eyeballs and that perspective on your business can be invaluable. You agree with that?
Totally. Totally agree with that. I mean, the coach has many benefits and can keep you accountable, can provide great networking connectivity with folks that you don't know, look at your business and recommend things that you just don't see because you're in it. You need somebody. There's a good old example. So look at me. This is what I've done, right? Where are my glasses? You can't see your glasses when they're this close. If I put them a little further away, I'll be able to see them. But when I do this, I can't see them. They're too close. That's what happens in business. You're too close to the business. You can't see it.
That's great. That's great.
That's it. That's the wisdom.
I love that. So if you had to summarize it, Mike, why do you do what you do? Why do you do this business? Why do you do the loan business? And why?
It's not about loan business. I enjoy mostly real estate. So this is a continuous evolution. So for me, it is part of the equation, not the entire equation. There's more out there. Kind of the more you know, the more you don't know. So I am constantly looking for a better opportunity to do bigger and better things. So I do what I do because it provides freedom of being a kind of a boss of my own, running my own business, being in charge. I have folks working for me, and I'm responsible for them and for their welfare. So I am doing it because it's fun. It's a really combination of three things, and that's actually a true. I tried to think what book it was in, but one of the most famous books, either Seven Habits of Highly Successful People or
That's
another one.
Stephen Covey, yeah.
Yeah, so three things. Find something that you like, find something that you are good at, and find something that makes you money. And I'm pretty good at this. I like it. It makes me money. So from that perspective, I think I found a great kind of venue. The other thing, really, really important, this is not really about only real estate. It's about being in business of your own, is you can grow personally. Growth doesn't mean more money in your bank account or having more employees. Growth means you personally learn, you develop, you achieve wealth, not necessarily economic wealth, but personal wealth. You build better relationships with people. So that's why I do what I do.
I love that. I love the networking aspect of that. That's great. My audience right now, all the listeners, they want to know how to get in touch with you, Mike. What's the best way to do that?
So I'm going to give you my email. I'm not going to give you the phone number, just the email. It's Mike at TempoFunding.com, TEMPO from the word temporary, TempoFunding.com. That's my main email.
We'll put this in the show notes, by the way, too. Okay.
Yeah, so that's essentially how to get a hold of me. And I am open to conversations. Just my primary business is I marry money and opportunity. So if you have a great opportunity, you need money, come back. If you have money and you don't have a good place to put it, come back to me and let's chat and we'll figure out what to do.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be on here, Mike. We're going to put that link, your email there in the show notes. And make sure whenever you do contact Mike, let him know that you listen to the Profit Masters podcast. We have quite a few people that have been listening to this podcast series and like to keep track of kind of where they're coming in from. So I appreciate you doing that. And I'll tell you that I've done personally and with my other students and my relationships with Mike well over $1 million in loans. I'm letting you know from personal standpoint, I highly recommend that you do check out Mike if you have any kind of need on working in your real estate business right now. You need some money to close some deals, whether that's kind of transactional funding or you need some short-term lending. Mike is someone that you want to have that relationship with, and he will build that relationship with you. I have no qualms referring many, many people to him, and not one single person that I've ever referred to Mike has anything besides stellar things to say about you, Mike. And so as just on a man-to-man basis, I really appreciate your integrity, and I really appreciate you being on here and sharing some of the things that are working for you in your business. I appreciate you taking the time. And on the other side of just our coaching and business consulting, it's been fantastic, and I know it's going to continue just to get better. So I appreciate you in that regard as well.
Cory, thank you so much. I'm grateful to you for everything you do and for the great things you do in the nonprofit space. Your own Grateful Project, I kind of wanted to mention because I thought it was such an awesome thing. So thank you for introducing it to me. And every day I get that note from you and thinking about what should I be grateful for in today. So I wanted to say I'm grateful to you today for doing this podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that. I appreciate you saying it with the Grateful Project. Yesterday was our day 433, and it was about patience. So I thought that was really interesting that you mentioned that on the podcast.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. That wraps us up. Thank you again for being on here. Remember always to be a servant leader, just like Mike is. Contact him, and I'll have everything, including the transcription, in the show notes, and a way to get a hold of Mike. Any last thoughts, Mike?
I don't have anything specific, but I do remember one more quote, kind of just talks about life. And the quote is really simple. Life is a journey, enjoy the ride.
I like it. Sometimes simple is all we need. Most of the time it is. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thanks again, Mike. Remember, be a servant. Make sure that you're always listening to our Real Estate Investing Profits podcast and our Profit Masters series. We're going to have continued, have amazing guests on here just like Mike, so I appreciate you so much. Have a fantastic, phenomenal, and fun day. Bye now.
You've been listening to another Real Estate Investing Profits Master Podcast series. To receive your free real estate book, Down and Dirty, Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, how to quit your job to start flipping houses in 90 days or less, head online and go to realestateinvestingprofits.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Estate Investing Profits. Thanks again for listening and stay tuned for our next episode.